5 minutes. That's all it took for one appearance to rewrite everything fans thought they knew.
Xu Kai walked in calm.
Tan Songyun stood beside him, close, quiet, almost instinctive. And suddenly, the internet wasn't asking what happened. But what if they've already crossed a line no one was prepared for? It was supposed to be routine. A controlled environment. A familiar setting where expectations were clear and emotions were contained. Xu Kai stepped forward as he always does, polished, composed, effortlessly charismatic. The crowd responded with cheers, cameras raised, hearts racing.
Nothing felt unusual. Not yet.
Then Tan Songyun appeared.
No dramatic announcement. No spotlight chase.
Just her presence, walking in with a calm confidence that instantly shifted the energy of the room.
What stunned the audience wasn't that she was there. It was how she stayed.
She didn't hover at a respectful distance.
She didn't rotate in and out like a guest.
She positioned herself beside Xu Kai
and remained there, shoulders nearly touching, body angled toward him, a proximity that felt natural.
Within seconds, the room grew louder, but also strangely tense.
Because fans weren't just watching two stars on stage.
They were watching a dynamic they couldn't easily categorize. This wasn't scripted banter. This wasn't promotional choreography. This felt unscripted. And that's what made it dangerous. As Xu Kai spoke, Tan Songyun didn't drift away.
She stayed grounded, present, attentive. And then came the gesture.
A simple movement, her hand lifting to adjust his jacket.
A moment so small it might have passed unnoticed. If not for how long her fingers lingered.
That single touch fractured the atmosphere. Because suddenly, everyone felt it.
Something had changed.
In fandom culture, silence is never empty. It is filled with interpretation. As clips began flooding social media, fans slowed them down. Frame by frame.
Second by second.
Tan Songyun's hand didn't retreat immediately. It stayed, light, familiar, assured. Her fingers curled into the fabric of Xu Kai's jacket.
Not nervously. Not accidentally.
It looked possessive. Each time he moved, her grip adjusted. Each time he leaned forward, she leaned with him.
This wasn't the language of colleagues. This wasn't even the ease of close friends.
Body language experts online began weighing in, not as authorities, but as observers of patterns.
They pointed out her stance.
The way her shoulders mirrored his.
The protective angle of her posture.
Fans began using words that carried weight. Domestic. Spousal energy. Wife-coded. Those phrases spread faster than any official statement ever could. What unsettled people most wasn't the touch itself.
It was how comfortable it looked. Comfort takes time. It takes familiarity. It takes history. And history is exactly what fans began digging for. Past interviews. Shared glances.
Moments once dismissed as coincidence suddenly felt loaded with new meaning. What if this wasn't sudden? What if it had always been there, just hidden in plain sight?
What happened next wasn't quiet. It wasn't subtle. It was immediate and explosive.
Within minutes, fandom spaces transformed into battlegrounds of emotion.
On one side stood the believers.
Fans who had followed Xu Kai and Tan Songyun's journey for years. Who had analyzed interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and fleeting glances long before this moment. For them, this appearance wasn't shocking. It was confirmation. They saw tenderness in the way Tan Songyun stayed close. Security in how she anchored herself beside him. They spoke of comfort that can only come from trust built over time. Their posts weren't angry. They were relieved. Emotional. Even triumphant. This is what real affection looks like. You can't rehearse this kind of ease. They look like they've already lived together. But across the digital divide, another reaction surged. Raw and deeply personal.
These fans weren't casual observers. They were emotionally invested.
They had supported Xu Kai not just as an actor, but as an idea. An idea of availability.
Of emotional closeness.
Of a fantasy that had never been promised, but had quietly been allowed to exist. To them, Tan Songyun's grip on his jacket didn't feel romantic.
It felt territorial.
Not because of jealousy alone, but because it symbolized an ending. The end of a dream many had held onto longer than they realized.
Some expressed heartbreak. Others anger.
A few demanded explanations that no one was obligated to give. And yet, beneath the conflict, there was one shared truth.
No one could look away. Because this wasn't gossip anymore. It was emotional reality unfolding in public. In most entertainment scandals, responses come quickly. Statements are issued. Clarifications released. Damage control activated. This time, nothing. No official words from Xu Kai. No response from Tan Songyun. No guiding narrative from their management teams. In the Chinese entertainment industry, silence is not absence. It is strategy. Every second without clarification allowed speculation to grow. Every unanswered question fueled deeper analysis. Was this moment carefully allowed to happen? Or did it simply slip through the cracks of control? Industry observers tread carefully, avoiding conclusions. But patterns were discussed. Both actors are veterans. Both understand the weight of image. Neither is inexperienced in handling public perception, which raised an uncomfortable possibility. If this moment truly crossed a boundary, why wasn't it stopped? Xu Kai's public persona has long balanced on emotional accessibility. Tan Songyun's strength has always been her grounded, relatable warmth. Confirming a relationship, explicitly or implicitly, could shift brand value, fan loyalty, and future opportunities. And yet, perhaps the greater risk was continuing the illusion indefinitely. In recent years, audiences have grown more complex, more accepting, less willing to be fed carefully manufactured fantasies. Maybe this wasn't a miscalculation. Maybe it was a recalibration. Not an announcement, but an adjustment. A quiet acknowledgement that adulthood changes narratives. Still, without words, the industry watches carefully. Because once intimacy is seen, it cannot be unseen. So what are we left with? Not answers, not confirmations, but a moment suspended in time. A hand holding fabric. A stance that felt protective. A silence that spoke louder than denial ever could. Perhaps this was nothing more than familiarity between two professionals who trust each other deeply. Perhaps the internet projected its desires onto a neutral interaction. Or perhaps this was something far more human. Because real relationships rarely announce themselves. They reveal themselves quietly. Through instinct. Through comfort. Through presence. And that is what unsettled people most. Not scandal. Not betrayal. But intimacy that didn't ask permission to exist. For fans, this moment forced reflection. On expectations. On boundaries. On the emotional contracts we form with people we've never met. For Xu Kai and Tan Songyun, it may simply have been another day. One that happened to be watched by millions. And until words are spoken, or never spoken at all, this moment will continue to live. Replayed. Analyzed. Felt. Because in celebrity culture, truth isn't always confirmed by statements. Sometimes, it lingers in the space between two people, and asks the world to decide what it means.